Hello! So, my name is Victoria and I went on Contiki in May. I was away from May 10th to June 1st with the European Experience Tour. I had an amazing time, and as I promised when I was away, I vlogged, but I also said that I was going to do overview of my entire experience on Contiki. So that is what I am going to do today. I think the first thing that I should talk about is, the pros versus cons of Contiki, because I think that is really important when you're picking what kind of tour you want to do. And if you're thinking of doing a Contiki tour, you probably have some questions. It is primarily for 18 to 35-year-olds. I would say that the average age on my tour was about 24. I'm 18, turning 19 soon. I did not find that it was any problem that I was 18. Even the oldest people were hanging out with the youngest people, so that was no problem. On my last video, someone under the name of Pale Swan asked me, how was it going alone? I want to go on one of their trips, but I can only afford for myself. Do you usually meet people and not feel so alone during the trip? I went as a solo traveler for my Contiki, and I thought that it was amazing. I would actually recommend going solo. I was kind of worried going in because I was a little worried that, people would be going with their friends and they would already have their friend group and not want to branch out, but everyone on my trip was really nice and everyone wanted to be friends, and even the people that went with their friends definitely wanted to branch out and hang out with other people on the trip, and I found that I was hanging out with just about everybody on the trip at some point or another. I think it's actually a great idea to go alone because you will have your friends and you'll make friends on the tour, but ultimately at the end of the day it's your trip, and if you're spending a lot of money to go to Europe, you're obviously going to want to do what you want to do when you're there. And I found that it was a really good idea that I went by myself because I could do what I want when I wanted, and I didn't really have to worry as much about what other people wanted to do. At the end of the day, it's your trip. I met a lot of people. I had a really good, solid friend group of about 10 people that we hung out with all the time. It's really up to you what kind of experience that you have. If you are open and want to make friends and you just be yourself, which I know is like the worst advice ever, but if you just be yourself, then you're going to have a great time and people are going to come to you. And yeah, so just be open to making friends and just be open to people and you will make friends. There are 50 people on Contikis. My tour had just around 50 people, 52 including tour manager and bus driver. But yeah, so I thought it was great and no problems making friends at all. On my Contiki particularly, we went to 13 countries in 21 days. So you are going to a lot of destinations in a short amount of time. With that said, you do spend a lot of time on the bus because you need to get from one place to the other. And I would say that it was about every other day that you would have a bus day. A bus day consists mainly of about 8 hours of traveling. We would usually leave the campsite or hostel, wherever we were staying, around 7:30, 8 in the morning. 8 was like late. On the road, going to our next destination. There are multiple service stops along the way, so no worries for getting lunch or stretching your legs or anything. You will grow to enjoy the bus. I know it sounds like you're going to be spending a lot of time on the bus, which you are, but Contiki is so fast-paced and you're doing so much all the time that you really do learn to appreciate the downtime that you have on the bus. Most people just sleep, but always remember that when you're heading into the destination, so I would say around 2-ish, we always got to our destinations around 4:30, so maybe 2 hours before you get to your destination, I would just wake up and look around you because I found that it was just so amazing to just look around me, and you are looking out the window and you just see where you are, and it just kind of reminds you that holy crap, I am in Europe and this scenery is amazing. It's just amazing going into these countries that I knew nothing about, and just getting to see the scenery and the beauty that is around us, because it was just so gorgeous and it was amazing. When you're into the actual part of the city that you're going to be at, your tour manager will give you a little briefing on where you are and kind of the history behind it, and point out some of the monuments if you're going right through the city. Make sure you listen Make sure you take it all in. Make sure that you pay attention because it is so fascinating, and that is coming from someone who is not a big fan of history. Something that a lot of people ask is what kind of electronics you should bring on your Contiki tour. I brought 2 cameras. I have my point and shoot, just normal tiny camera, and then I have my DSLR, which is my bigger professional camera for taking professional photos. And I also took my iPhone, and those are all the electronics that I took on my tour. I'm really glad that I took minimal items with me. I didn't need my computer, and honestly, I know a lot of people are concerned about, not being up to date with their friends at home, or, being out of the loop, or not having their computer on them, but honestly, it was one of the best decisions that I made to not bring my computer on the trip. I use my computer a lot, and I did not miss it whatsoever. You're in Europe, you're only there once. This is really the trip of a lifetime. It's something that you're never going to forget, but you don't want to waste your time on your computer, checking your emails, doing whatever. Just take the time off. If someone really needs you, they can talk to you via text, or, when you have Wi-Fi, you can check on your phone. But I didn't find that there's any reason that you should be bringing your computer on the trip. Something a lot of people also ask is about Wi-Fi. There is Wi-Fi in Europe. I would say that it is not the best, though. There is Wi-Fi on the bus. It is 10 euros for, I think it was 100 megabytes. I had a friend that used the Wi-Fi on the bus, and she said it wasn't great. And I don't really know anyone else that used the Wi-Fi on the bus, just because it wasn't that reliable, and it just wasn't a good investment. Most of the people are sleeping on the bus anyway, so you really aren't going to use it as much as you think that you will. And I just think that not really worth it, and that's coming from someone who really likes having their internet with them. And I didn't use it. If you're doing the European experience specifically, or any kind of budget or concept tour, you will be staying in a lot of Contiki campsites. Most of the places had Wi-Fi, especially the Contiki owned hotels, campsites, whatnot. The Wi-Fi is really hit or miss. It depends where you are. I found that in Italy, it was the worst Wi-Fi. You definitely had to pay for it. At a lot of the Contiki-owned places, you do have to pay for Wi-Fi. It is usually pretty cheap, but, still you have to pay for it. If I remember correctly, sometimes it was 3 euros, sometimes it was 5 euros for 24 hours, something like that. I used the Wi-Fi when it was free. I bought the Wi-Fi once when I was in Italy because we were there for 5 days and it had been a while, so just thought that I would check up and let everyone know that I'm still alive. But really, it's not as much of a problem as you'll think that it's going to be, not having Wi-Fi. Everyone is in the same boat. You're not going to have a lot of Wi-Fi. I would say that the best places for Wi-Fi were Switzerland, Austria, and at the Ibis Hotel in Paris. Those were the best, for sure. I just found that it wasn't that worth it to, buy the Wi-Fi. And if you really need it, it's there, and it probably will be there. Just not great, and don't expect it to be like at home where the Wi-Fi speeds are really fast. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is money. So I came on the tour knowing that I was going to be on a budget. I'm a student and I only have a summer job. I was paying for this trip with my summer job that I've had for 2 years, and the earnings that I made for that were kind of piled in to pay for both the trip, my airfare, and any money that I would need on the tour. When I came into this trip, I had just roughly about 1,000 euros total to spend on the trip, and this was for optionals, food, whatever, everything outside of airfare and accommodation. A lot of people said that you should budget about 100 euros a day, and I was hearing that a lot from the European Contiki Facebook page. I was really worried when I heard that because 100 euros is way out of my budget. I was worried that I was going to run out of money. I was worried that I'd be pressed for money, and I was worried that I wouldn't get the full experience because I didn't have enough money on me. But I found that it really was not an issue whatsoever. I actually came home with money. Kind of a disclaimer that my experience may not mirror yours. I know myself, I'm not a huge shopper at all. I don't really buy things that I don't need whatsoever. I'm not a souvenir person that much. My souvenirs on the trip were postcards, which this is actually one of them. And I am not a huge partier. I don't smoke. So to me, I didn't think that I'd be spending a lot of money on that. And it seemed from my experience that the 100 euros a day would be for someone that does like to party, does like to shop, and maybe does smoke. I'm going to tell you what optionals that I did. I had planned on doing everything, and it was in my budget to do all of the optionals except for one because I had already been to Europe before and done that. These are the optionals that I did. The first one I did was the Parisian dinner, which is 35 euros. If you're going to do one optional and you're going to do one dinner, on the me time optionals, definitely do this one. This was the perfect way to start off the tour. I really felt like I got to know everybody on this dinner. The food was phenomenal. There was lots of wine, lots of French bread. Our entree was French onion soup, and then we had the vegetarian entree was pasta, and then we had this beautiful chocolate souffle thing for dessert. It was gorgeous. It was amazing food. You will not regret going to that. I did not do the Nouvelle Cabaret show, which is right after the Parisian dinner. A lot of people said that they enjoyed it. Me and my friends decided not to do it. That was just our own decision. If you want to do it, definitely do it. Everyone that went had fun, but I do not regret not going. The next thing that I did was the Tuscan meal, and this, I believe, was either in Rome or Florence. I don't remember, but it was amazing. Like, this was an amazing meal. I definitely think that if you can, go to those two meals. They were so good. The Tuscan meal is like a family style Italian dinner. So everything is served on big plates. Everyone gets like a scoop of everything, and it was amazing food. Everyone left stuffed, literally like rolling out of the restaurant. Please, if you are there, do it so I can live vicariously through you, because I would love to do that again. Then there was the Space Electronic Disco in Florence. That was 16 euros. It was amazing. It was a really good night. You get 3 free drinks, I believe, when you were there. That's one of the only places that you'll go that actually has locals there. So I found that that was really interesting. Then there's the Rome walking tour, including the Emperors and Gladiators Colosseum. That was 26 euros. I did it. It was awesome. The walking tour guide was really good. She was very knowledgeable, and it was just a really great way to see Rome. There are entrance fees for the Colosseum and for the Roman Forum, which is the 2 of the places that we went. I thought it was just worth it to do it with the group. So you can just do that, and you won't have to wait in the lines because you're with a group. Then there's the Venice walking tour, which was 11 euros. That one was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. There was a Florence walking tour, which I don't know why it doesn't say in here. Venice walking tour was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Our tour guide was very funny, and she knew everything about Venice. I thought it was a great way to see it in a short amount of time. However, if you have the option to do the Florence walking tour, I would suggest against it. I did not find that it was helpful whatsoever. Florence in general does not have a whole lot of sightseeing. There's the Statue of David and like a few other places, but I really didn't think that the walking tour was worth it. I would not do that one again. Then there was a gondola ride in Venice, which I thought was amazing. It was about an hour, I would say. Our gondola driver was singing to us, and he sang Spaghetti Mozzarella Tiramisu, which was very funny. Then mountain bike tour and barbecue lunch. This was amazing. This was in Austria, and it's a 25-kilometer mountain bike, and I know that might seem intimidating to some of you, but it was great. People of all skill levels were doing it. I was at the front, so I was pushing myself a little more than most people had to, but I found that it was amazing. It was a great challenge, and it was a perfect day. It was really nice and cool when we were going up, and then you have an amazing view when you get to the top, and it's just so gorgeous. And then you have like 10 kilometers downhill, which is so nice after you did all that uphill bike riding. As I said, I pushed myself a little more. I found it a little challenging, but nothing too bad. Also keep in mind that I had bronchitis when I was doing that, and I didn't even know. So that's probably also why I found it a little challenging, but I found that everyone enjoyed it. The barbecue lunch after is great. It was like sausages and salad and a soft drink. Good. Oh, and potatoes. Really good. Then there was the tandem paragliding, which I had planned for, but it really is dependent on the weather conditions. One of the groups got to go up they were the 11 o'clock group. They got to go up and do their paragliding, but anyone after 11 o'clock couldn't go because the winds were too strong. Very upsetting, but you know, you move on, life happens, it's okay. Next, I did the Munich bike tour, which I found to be awesome. You're only in Munich for one night if you're with European Experience. And I found this was a great way to just see the city in a short amount of time. And there was the Jungfrau Mountain visit. And I was very, very excited for this. Switzerland was the place that I was the most excited to go to. When we went up to Jungfrau, it was snowing a lot. I'm from Canada. I see snow all the time. When you got to the top, I couldn't see anything. It was just complete snow, completely white. I was with a lot of Australians and New Zealanders, and they really enjoyed it. I'm glad that I did it, but you know, it was just kind of anticlimactic to go all the way up and then it's just white. I think it's worth it to go. There's some cool stuff up there as well, like the Ice Palace. Then there was wine tasting, which I was supposed to go to, but I was really sick by then, so I couldn't taste anything, so I just decided not to go. And then there's the Canal Cruise. The Canal Cruise is in Amsterdam. It's 1 hour. It's when you're going up to dinner at the Sea Palace. And the Canal Cruise was amazing. It was a great way to see Amsterdam, and it was just gorgeous. It was just before sunset, and it was wonderful, and I would do it again. It's such a nice way to just kind of end your tour with all your friends. The Sea Palace restaurant, I did not go to that. My friends and I decided not to. It is very expensive. It's 31 euros. I'm going to say that for a fact. Amsterdam is not that expensive. It's pretty cheap. My friends and I went, and we literally went right across, and we went to an Italian restaurant. The Sea Palace restaurant that you go to is like Chinese food. Amsterdam is known for its like eclectic cuisine. So it really is up to you what you decide to eat. We just went to an Italian place. I got an amazing huge bowl of pasta for 9 euros, which I thought was way more worth it than going to the Sea Palace and spending 31 euros. I had people that said that they enjoyed it. I had people who said they didn't. So it's really up to you what you decide to do. My optionals totaled to about 350 euros, I believe. And that's what I did. So as for money for everything else on the tour, so I budgeted about 22 euros a day, give or take, because I knew that I would be spending some more some days, and less some days, because it just happens. Sometimes you spend more, sometimes you spend less. And I know 22 euros sounds like not a lot of money. It really is dependent on you. I ate really well when I was on the tour. I had a lot of fun. I never missed out on anything, and I didn't feel the need to spend that much money. When you're in places like Rome, you have the option to go on a side street and go to an amazing local restaurant for dinner, or you can go in one of the more touristy locations. And in the touristy locations, it will be really expensive. It will probably be 30 euros for some pasta. But if you go right down the side street, it'll be 10 euros for pasta, which is just as amazing and probably even better because it's not just filled with tourists. There are places that are more expensive. Switzerland is very expensive. I think I spent like 50 francs when I was there for that one day. Very expensive. You just have to budget for it. As I said, that's what worked for me, might not work for you. So another thing that I will talk about is getting sick on Contiki. There's no way around it. You will get sick. I think everyone on my tour got sick at some point or another. I got sick towards the beginning of the tour, and I was still sick at the end of the tour. You're on a bus with 50 other people for sometimes 8 hours a day. You're around them all the time. You are sharing rooms. You are sharing space. You're sharing air. You will get sick. Make sure that you bring lots of antibiotics with you. Make sure that as soon as you get sick, you go to the pharmacy. Your tour manager will point out lots of pharmacies around. There are so many, and you can just get your prescription. Make sure that you have what you need to get better, because it will suck if you're still sick. I got 2 types of sickness on the tour. First of all, I got an eye infection, which was very random. I got it, I think, in Germany when we were leaving Munich. I woke up one day and my eye was swollen shut. But I got some eye drops from the pharmacy, and then all was well. Second thing that I did get was like, eventually it was diagnosed as bronchitis when I got home, but it was the infamous Contiki cough / Contiki cold. It is so real. I don't even know how to explain it to you. This cough is like the worst cough that you will ever experience in your entire life. It is like this hacking, whooping, deep cough, and you will get mucusy, and you will be very gross. um, Bring cough medicine. Bring anything that you need. If you have allergies, bring your allergy medication. Just bring any medication that you can actually think of in your head. You will need it all. Be prepared, and hopefully you will get better soon. Also, if you're partying on the tour, make sure that you're taking some time to get rest. If you're starting to feel sick, take the night off. It's okay. Then you're gonna miss so many more nights if you're sick and you actually can't get out of bed. So another common question is, would you do Contiki again? This was my first time traveling alone. This was my first Contiki, and I had an amazing time. I met some amazing people. I saw some amazing places, and I'm so grateful that I got to go on this trip. If I were to do it again as a first-time traveler, I would definitely go with Contiki, but I would not travel for my second time with Contiki. This is only because that I feel like Contiki is where you start off. So if you're a first-time traveler, Contiki is amazing. I think that it's great, and I think that you will see a lot, and I think that you will see where you want to go back to. But as for seeing it again and getting a deeper look at the places that you want to go again, you won't get that with Contiki because you were spending such a short amount of time in every place. I would prefer to just go by myself now that I have the knowledge that Contiki provided me with, to go to these new places and see them and stay for longer. If you don't know what you're doing in Europe and you're thinking of backpacking but it's a little intimidating to you, Contiki's great. They plan everything. It's amazing. I'm so glad that I didn't have to plan any of this or else I would be so stressed out. It was a stress-free vacation and I really enjoyed being on it. If you are the type of person that likes to relax and wants to get up at 10 every morning, Contiki may not be for you. This is for people who really want to see Europe. You do go to so many destinations. There are some more laid-back tours that you can go on, but ultimately, Contiki is about seeing Europe, and when you're abroad, it's not about sleeping in, it's not about spending time in bed, it's about going out and seeing Europe and experiencing it for all that it is. I definitely would recommend it to anyone who is thinking about going to Europe and is a little worried about going by themselves, wants to meet new people, they're going for the first time. It was an amazing experience, and I'm so glad that I did Contiki. So 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up, so good. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this is helpful to you. If you're going on a Contiki, I hope you have an amazing time. If you're thinking about Contiki, I hope that this helped at all. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!